It's the new year, and if you're single, maybe it's time to search for a new love. One of the biggest concerns for those dabbling in the dating scene, though, seems to be the age gap. For some advice on the do's and don'ts on the dating differential, we turn to relationship expert Debra MacLeod. Welcome. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Okay, this generated a lot of conversation in the newsroom when we were talking about it. Some people subscribe to some kind of formula. Some people don't really care about an age difference. Where do you sit?
Right. I don't do the formula because I'm not good at math, but otherwise I would totally do it. I think 7 to 10 years is kind of a common sense kind of age gap. I think that it's one of these things where we all know somebody who's made it work, and they do, and they can work, and they can be beautiful. My best friend's parents were married forever with a, I think, 16-year gap or something. But for everyone that we see, there are quite a few that we see that don't work out. So you tend to see, and I'm going to really generalize here because we don't have a lot of time, but you tend to see parent-child dynamics happening when there are problems. So I've had guys who come in who might be in their 30s, dating a girl who's 20, saying, oh, you know, she's just so immature. All she wants to do is hang out with her friends, and now she wants to go off to another town to school. And I'm like, that's not immature. That's age appropriate. Right? It's what you want to do. So it's one of those things where, and that's very typical with an older man and a younger woman, and a lot of guys will say that women are their own age are very bitter. So you got to watch that bitterness. I'm telling you, if you're out there shopping around. So they're looking for that energy, that sort of someone who isn't carrying all that kind of baggage. And young women tend to love the message from older men, right? You're beautiful. I'm so lucky to be with you. Stuff that maybe guys a little bit younger aren't so good at saying, maybe, right? So to me, it's a lot like when you date somebody, when you have somebody who doesn't have kids, dating someone who does have kids, it's one of those things that you think love will conquer all until you actually get in the situation and the problems start to come up. It
really is about stage in life, just sort of where you're at.
Absolutely, sure, because it's, and people say, well, people mature at different levels, and that's absolutely true, but there's no experience, there's no substitute for life experience. So if you're in your 20s or 30s, you're thinking family, you're thinking career. If you're older than that, you're kind of, I'm done with that. So there is that, and the thing to remember too is they tend to dismiss old age and just say once you're 80 and I'm 60, it won't matter. But that's when it matters the most. Because what do you want to do, you and your husband, when you're 65, what do you want to do? You want to travel, you want to enjoy each other's company. So you see a lot of people who are, I don't want to use the word abandoned, but I'm going to use it, when they're very old by younger spouses who don't want to play nursemaid at that age. So it's tough to navigate.
Good to think in the long term. Although with the sort of stage in life issue maybe becomes a little bit diminished as you do move up in age. So if you're kind of middle-aged, both people have sort of gone through
then you just have those kind of health issues to think about. And I sound like I'm just down on the whole thing. I'm not. When they work beautifully, truly. You just have to know about those logistics.
Okay, so you're saying watch out for bitterness. I think that applies to both men and women who've been there, done that. What are some other things to kind of just look out for and get a fresh start?
I think if you're looking at dating just generally, I think that bitterness is important. The negativity, you know, men complain so much about voice tone in women, that we bring up the past and we're just negative. You really got to watch that. The biggest complaint I hear from women about men is hair trigger behavior. Is kind of a streak of narcissism, where you have somebody that has really poor impulse control, so they take things to heart right away. And I think this is something that any psychologist will tell you is almost epidemic with men nowadays, is this sort of raging behavior. So you really have to watch out for that. When you see a guy when you're on a date and that person reacts in a way that gives you a red flag, you have to know that they're on their best behavior on that date. That is only going to get worse. So don't fool yourself thinking, oh, he's just having a bad day.
People don't change.
They do not.
There is an article in Branded Magazine. We'll make sure we have the link up on our website, breakfasttelevision.ca. Debra also has a book out called The Modest Minx, Date for Marriage Method for Women Who Know That Good Men Marry Class. Not you know what. So, again, information, breakfasttelevision.ca. This is good advice. Thank you.
Tara.
So lovely to see you. Hello to your son, Scott, who's here.